are standing on a train platform as evening settles into night. The platform is nearly empty, just a few other travelers scattered here and there, each absorbed in their own waiting, their own thoughts, their own journey about to begin. The air is cool, but not cold, carrying with it the particular smell of train stations, metal and diesel, and something else, something indefinable, the scent of transitions, of places between places. Above you, the sky is deepening from blue to indigo, to that particular shade of darkness that comes just after sunset, when the world is suspended between day and night. Neither one nor the other. A few early stars have appeared, faint points of light that seem uncertain, as if they are not sure whether they should be visible yet. The platform stretches out to your left and right, longer than you can see in the dimming light. Old-fashioned lamps stand at intervals along its length, casting pools of warm yellow light that do not quite reach each other, leaving spaces of shadow between them. The concrete beneath your feet is smooth and worn, marked by the passage of countless travelers who have stood here before you, waiting as you are waiting now. Down the track, you hear it before you see it, a low rumble that you feel in your chest as much as you hear with your ears, growing gradually louder, more present, more real. Then the light appears, a single bright point in the distance, swaying slightly as it approaches, growing larger and brighter, until you can see the shape of the train emerging from the darkness, massive and inevitable, slowing as it nears the platform. The train comes to a stop with a long exhalation of air brakes, a sound like a sigh, like relief, like arrival. It is an old train, or styled to look old, with a dark exterior that gleams dully under the platform lights. The windows glow with warm light from within, promising comfort, promising rest, promising shelter from the night. Doors open along the length of the train with a hydraulic hiss. You pick up your small bag. You are traveling light, carrying only what you need for rest, for sleep, for this long night's journey. And you step forward, climbing the few metal steps into the train car, feeling the solid weight of the train beneath your feet, hearing the hollow echo of your footsteps on the metal floor. Inside, the train car is quiet and warm. The lighting is dim, not the harsh fluorescence of day, but something softer, more amber, more conducive to rest. The seats are arranged in pairs on either side of a central aisle, upholstered in dark fabric, navy or deep green. It's hard to tell in this light. Most of the seats are empty. The few other passengers who have boarded are settling into their own spaces, removing coats, arranging bags, preparing for the journey ahead. You walk down the aisle slowly, your hand occasionally touching the top of a seat for balance, as the train gives a slight lurch, preparing to depart. You are looking for the right seat, though you could not say what makes a seat right or wrong. You will know it when you see it, and there it is, about halfway down the car, a window seat on the right side. The seat beside it is empty. The window is large and clean, offering a view of the platform, and beyond it, the darkness. You slide into the seat, feeling the cushion give slightly beneath you, conforming to your body. You place your bag on the seat beside you, or in the overhead rack, or on the floor by your feet. You settle in, adjusting your position until you are comfortable, until everything feels right. The train lurches again, more decisively this time, and then you feel it, that initial pull of movement, gentle but unmistakable. The platform begins to slide past your window, slowly at first, then faster. The other passengers, the lamps, the station building, all begin to move, to recede, to become part of what was rather than what is. The train picks up speed gradually, smoothly, with none of the jerky acceleration of cars or buses. It is a steady, building momentum, a gathering of force that feels patient, unhurried, as if the train knows it has all night to reach its destination and sees no reason to rush. You watch through the window as the platform gives way to other platforms, to tracks running parallel to your own, to signal lights standing like sentinels in the gathering dark, red, green, amber. Their meanings clear to the train, but mysterious to you. The train passes through the outskirts of the station, through switching yards where freight cars sit motionless on sidings, through areas of concrete and chain link fence and industrial buildings whose purpose you cannot guess. The rhythmic sound of the train on the tracks has established itself now, a pattern that will continue for hours, for the entire journey. Clack, 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 clack. It is the sound of wheels passing over the joints between rails, a sound as old as trains themselves, a sound that has lulled travelers to sleep for more than a century. The rhythm is not perfectly regular. There are variations, slight changes in timing, in tone, but it is constant, reliable, hypnotic. The city buildings begin to appear outside your window now, though you are seeing them from behind, from an angle most people never see. The backs of buildings, loading docks, parking lots, alleys, the private faces that cities show only to trains and to those who work in their hidden spaces. Windows in these buildings glow with light, offices where late workers are still present, apartments where people are settling in for the evening, the occasional flicker of a television screen. The train is moving faster now, though it is hard to judge speed when you are inside, moving with it. The buildings outside begin to blur slightly, to lose their individual definition, and become a continuous stream of shapes and lights. You settle deeper into your seat, finding a position where your head can rest against the window or against the seat back, where your body can relax completely. The gentle swaying of the train is noticeable now, a side-to-side motion that accompanies the forward movement. It is not uncomfortable. It is, in fact, soothing, like being rocked, like being held. The train car rocks gently left, then right, then left again, in a rhythm that is separate from but complementary to the clack-clack of the wheels on the tracks. The city is thinning now. The buildings are becoming shorter, more spread out, with spaces of darkness between them. You catch glimpses of streets, of cars with their headlights on, of intersections where the train passes overhead or underneath. The urban landscape is giving way to something less dense, less defined, the transition zone between city and suburb, between the built environment and whatever lies beyond. Your reflection appears faintly in the window now that the light outside is dimming. You can see your own face, ghostly and transparent, superimposed over the passing scenery behind your reflection. You can see the dim interior of the train car, other passengers settling into their own positions of rest, the warm glow of the interior lights. The clack-clack continues, steady and unchanging. Your breathing has begun to synchronize with it, or perhaps with the swaying of the train, or perhaps with both. Breathe in for 2 clacks, breathe out for 2 clacks, or breathe in during a left sway, breathe out during a right sway. Your body is finding its rhythm, matching itself to the train, becoming part of the train's movement, rather than a passenger simply carried along by it. The city is behind you now, or mostly behind you. The buildings have given way to lower structures, to houses with lit windows, to streets with fewer cars. And between these signs of habitation, there are now spaces of pure darkness, areas where no lights shine, where nothing is visible through the window except the reflection of your own face and the dim interior of the train car. These dark spaces grow larger, more frequent, until the lit areas become the exception rather than the rule. A house appears, its windows glowing warm yellow or cool blue, and then it is gone, swallowed by darkness. A streetlight stands alone, illuminating nothing in particular, and then it too recedes into the past, into the distance, into the night. The train maintains its steady speed, neither accelerating nor slowing, simply continuing forward through the darkness with mechanical patience. The sound of the wheels on the tracks continues its rhythm, clack, 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 a metronome marking time, measuring distance in a unit that means nothing to you. 1 clack equals 1 rail joint equals some number of feet or meters you cannot calculate and do not need to know. Other sounds become noticeable now that you have been listening for a while. There is a constant low hum, the sound of the train's systems, of electricity flowing, of machinery operating, of the train being alive in its mechanical way. There is the occasional creak of metal adjusting to stress, of joints flexing, of the train's body responding to curves in the track. There is, very faintly, the sound of air moving, the ventilation system maintaining the comfortable temperature inside the car. The other passengers are mostly quiet now. The rustle of newspapers or the glow of phone screens has diminished. People are settling in, some reading by the small overhead lights, some already dozing, heads tilted back or sideways, bodies relaxed in sleep or near sleep. The conductor has not appeared yet, or perhaps passed through while you were watching the window, collecting tickets in that efficient, quiet way conductors have, disturbing no one more than necessary. Outside, the darkness is now almost complete. occasionally, a light appears, a distant farmhouse, perhaps, or a car on a road that parallels the tracks for a while. But mostly there is only darkness, a darkness so complete that you cannot tell if you are passing through forest or field, through valleys or across plains. The train could be anywhere. The darkness makes all places the same. Your eyes begin to adjust. Or perhaps you simply become more accepting of the darkness, and you start to notice subtle variations in it. There are shades of darkness, some areas slightly lighter, suggesting open space or sky, others darker, suggesting the presence of something solid, trees or buildings or hills. But these are only suggestions, hints, intimations. The darkness reveals nothing with certainty. The window is cool against your forehead if you lean against it. Not cold, but noticeably cooler than the air inside the train. A reminder that outside, beyond this warm, lit, moving capsule of comfort, the night is present. The world is vast. The darkness extends in all directions without limit, but you are inside, separated from all that by nothing more than a pane of glass and the metal walls of the train car, yet separated completely, safe and warm, and carried forward through the night. The swaying of the train continues, left and right, a gentle pendulum motion that never stops, that becomes so familiar so quickly that you only notice it when it changes slightly, when the train takes a curve, and the swaying intensifies briefly before returning to its normal pattern. The sound of the wheels continues, clack, 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 a sound so constant that it begins to seem less like a sound and more like a fundamental property of existence, like silence itself. Time is becoming difficult to track. You could look at your phone or watch, but you don't. The time doesn't matter. You are on a train moving through the night, and the journey will take as long as it takes. There is nowhere else you need to be, nothing else you need to do. The train is your entire world now. This seat, this window, this movement through darkness. The train passes through a small town, or perhaps a large town. It's impossible to tell. Lights appear suddenly after long stretches of darkness. Streetlights, traffic signals, the illuminated signs of gas stations and convenience stores. The train slows slightly, perhaps because of speed restrictions in populated areas, perhaps for other reasons known only to the engineer in the distant cab. You see a street crossing where a car waits for the train to pass, its headlights pointing toward you, the driver invisible behind the glare. Then the town is gone, falling behind, and the darkness returns. This pattern repeats. Darkness, then lights, then darkness again. Town or station, or simply a cluster of houses around a crossing. Each one a brief interruption in the night, a moment of light between longer periods of dark. The train does not stop at these places. It is an express, or these are not its designated stops, or there is simply no reason to stop at this hour, no passengers waiting to board or disembark. The train continues, and the night continues, and you continue with them both. Your body has relaxed completely now. You are not asleep, not yet, but you are not quite fully awake either. You exist in that state between, that liminal space where consciousness is present but diffuse, where thoughts come and go like the lights outside the window, appearing briefly and then disappearing without leaving much trace. You think about things that don't matter, idle thoughts, half-formed memories, fragments of songs or conversations. These thoughts arise, and you observe them and they fade, and you feel no need to hold on to them or to follow them wherever they might lead. The clack-clack of the wheels has become like breathing, like heartbeat, like the fundamental rhythm that underlies all existence. You are aware of it and not aware of it simultaneously. It is always present. And because it is always present, it recedes into the background, becomes the silence against which other sounds, when they occur, become noticeable. Somewhere in the train car, someone coughs quietly. The sound is clear in the hushed space, and then it is gone, absorbed by the ambient sounds of the train. A few seats ahead, you can see the glow of someone's phone screen, the blue-white light illuminating their face from below, making them look ghostly, unfamiliar. They scroll through something, messages, news, endless social feeds. And then the screen goes dark, and there is only the warm amber light of the train's interior. Outside, the darkness continues. You have been looking at it for so long now that you have stopped really seeing it. Your eyes are open, directed toward the window, but they are not focusing on anything, not trying to pick out details or identify objects. You are simply looking at darkness, allowing darkness to fill your vision. And there is something restful in this, something that asks nothing of your eyes, nothing of your mind, nothing of you. The train follows the tracks, and the tracks follow the path laid down long ago by engineers and surveyors who looked at the landscape and decided where the train should go. The train does not deviate from this path. It cannot. It is bound to the rails, committed to them, following them wherever they lead through the night, through the darkness, toward whatever destination awaits at the end of the line. The temperature in the train car is perfect. Not too warm, not too cool, but that ideal point of comfort where you are barely aware of your body's temperature at all, where the air and your skin seem to be the same warmth, where there is no distinction between inside and outside, between you and the environment that surrounds you. Your head rests against the seat back or against the window, and the gentle vibration of the train travels through the glass or through the fabric into your skull. A subtle massage, a constant, gentle stimulation that is soothing rather than irritating. Everything in the train vibrates slightly with the motion, with the power of the wheels on the tracks, with the massive momentum of tons of metal moving through space. The darkness outside has become absolute now, or as absolute as darkness can be in a world where light exists. There are no towns visible, no houses, no lights of any kind. Either the train has entered a truly remote area, far from any human habitation, or you have simply passed beyond the region where lights are visible from the tracks. The window shows nothing now except the faint reflection of the interior, and beyond it, perfect blackness. You notice that your breathing has slowed considerably. Each breath takes a long time, filling your lungs slowly, deeply, completely, then emptying them just as slowly, just as completely. The pause between breaths has grown longer. Between the exhale and the next inhale, there are several seconds of stillness, of suspension, of not breathing that feels natural and right, that requires no effort to maintain. The clack-clack of the wheels continues, but it seems quieter now, or perhaps more distant, as if you are hearing it from farther away, as if there is now some space between you and the sound, some buffer that softens it, that makes it less immediate. The sound is still there, still regular, still constant, but it no longer demands your attention, no longer occupies the foreground of your awareness. Other passengers have definitely fallen asleep now. You can tell by the way they sit, by the complete stillness of their bodies, by the way their heads have fallen to one side or forward, by the slackness of their posture that indicates the absence of conscious control. The train car has become a collection of sleeping people being carried through the night, and you are soon to join them. Though you have not quite crossed that threshold yet, your thoughts have become very quiet, very slow, very simple. You are not thinking about your destination, about what awaits you there, about what you left behind when you boarded this train. You are not thinking about tomorrow or yesterday. You are barely thinking about now. There is only the train, the darkness, the movement, the sound, the gentle rocking that continues without pause, without variation, without end. The night outside is deep now, settled, complete. This is not the early darkness of evening, but the profound darkness of true night, of the hours when even those who stay up late have usually gone to bed, when the world is given over to the night shift workers and the insomniacs and the travelers on night trains. The world sleeps, and you are among those who are sleeping or about to sleep, carried through the sleeping world by this train that does not sleep, that continues its journey, whether its passengers are awake or not. You have been on the train for nearly an hour now, though it seems both longer and shorter than that. Time has lost its usual meaning. An hour could be 10 minutes or 10 hours. The clack-clack of the wheels measures something, but that something is not time as you usually understand it. It is distance, perhaps, or simply the endless present moment, marked and measured, but never changing, always now, always this sound, always this movement. The train takes a long, gentle curve, and you feel the slight increase in the side-to-side sway, the way your body presses slightly more against the outer wall of the curve, the way the darkness outside seems to wheel around some invisible center point. The curve goes on for a long time, longer than any curve you can remember, as if the train is circling something, orbiting something, following the edge of something vast and unseen. Then the track straightens again, and the swaying returns to its normal rhythm, and everything is as it was before, as it has been, as it will continue to be. Your eyelids have grown heavy. Though they were never light, they want to close. And sometimes you let them close for a few moments, resting your eyes, resting in the darkness behind your eyelids, which is not so different from the darkness outside the window. When your eyes are closed, the sounds become more prominent. The clack-clack of the wheels, the low hum of the train's systems, the almost silence of the sleeping car. When you open your eyes again, nothing has changed. The darkness remains. The train continues. The night goes on. You shift slightly in your seat, finding an even more comfortable position. One that requires even less muscle tension to maintain. One that allows your body to rest more completely. Every adjustment you make, you become more relaxed, more settled, more ready for sleep. Your body knows what is coming. Your body is preparing for it, releasing tension, slowing systems, beginning the shutdown sequence that leads to sleep. The window glass is cool against your forehead. You can feel the slight vibration traveling through it, the mechanical pulse of the train transmitted through metal and glass into your body. It is like having your finger on the pulse of something enormous and alive, feeling its heartbeat, its life force, its continuity of existence and motion. The darkness outside is no longer something you are looking at. It has become something you are part of, something that includes you, rather than something you observe from outside. The boundary between inside and outside, between the lit train car and the dark night beyond, has become permeable, less solid, less definite. You are in the train and in the darkness simultaneously. You are moving through the night, and the night is moving through you. The first hour is ending. Though you do not know this, do not mark it. Do not think about it. The train continues into the second hour exactly as it continued through the first, with no change, no acknowledgement that time has passed, that distance has been covered, that the night is that much older and sleep is that much closer. The wheels turn. The tracks pass beneath them. The darkness surrounds everything, and you sit in your seat by the window, breathing slowly, thinking rarely, existing in this moment that stretches on and on, this present that has no edges, this night that seems like it might never end, and that is perfect. That is exactly as it should be, because you have nowhere else to be. You have nothing else to do. You are on the night train, and the night train is taking you where you need to go, at exactly the right speed, through exactly the right darkness, toward exactly the right destination. Rest now. The journey has just begun. There are hours yet to go, miles yet to cover, darkness yet to cross. And all of it will happen while you rest, while you sleep, while the train carries you through the night, faithful and steady and certain, requiring nothing from you except that you allow yourself to be carried, to be held, to be moved through space and time without effort, without worry, without need. The wheels turn. The rails sing their steel song. The night deepens, and you drift closer and closer to sleep, closer and closer to dreams. closer and closer to that place where the journey and the destination become the same thing, where there is no difference between moving and arriving, between traveling and being home. Sleep now, or soon, or in another minute, or in this breath, or the next. The train continues. So do you. Together, moving through the night, becoming part of the night, becoming the night itself. Rest, drift, let go. The night train carries you on. You have been on the train long enough now that it has become your entire reality. The life you had before boarding, the platform where you waited, the city you left behind, all of these have receded into a kind of unreality, a dream of something that might have happened to someone else. There is only the train now, only the movement, only the darkness outside and the dim light inside, and the constant, unwavering sound of wheels on rails. The clack-clack continues without variation, without pause, without any indication that it will ever stop. It has been going on so long now that you have ceased to hear it as a sound, and instead experience it as a state of being, as the fundamental texture of existence itself. To imagine the world without this sound would be like imagining the world without gravity or time. Possible in theory, impossible to actually conceive. The other passengers are mostly asleep now, or in states so close to sleep that there is no meaningful difference. The train car has the quality of a dormitory after lights out, or a hospital ward in the deep night hours, a space full of sleeping people, each in their own dreams, each alone in their unconsciousness, despite the proximity of others. The few who remain awake do so quietly, respecting the collective surrender to sleep, keeping their reading lights dim, their movements minimal, their presence unobtrusive. You have lost track of how long you have been sitting in this position. Your body has molded itself to the seat, found the places where bone and muscle and fabric meet in perfect accommodation. There is no discomfort anywhere. Your neck is supported. Your back is supported. Your legs have found a position that requires no muscular effort to maintain. You are held by the seat the way the seat is held by the train, the way the train is held by the tracks, the way the tracks are held by the earth, a chain of support extending down through layers of matter until it reaches something fundamental, something that cannot be reduced further. Outside, the darkness has quality now, a presence rather than an absence. It is not simply the lack of light, but a substance of its own, thick and complete, pressing against the windows, surrounding the train on all sides. The train moves through this darkness like a ship through water, pushing it aside, creating a wake of disturbed space behind it that immediately fills in again, leaving no trace of passage. Occasionally, very occasionally, a light appears in the distance, a single point of yellow or white that might be a porch light or a street lamp or a window in some distant building. These lights appear so rarely that each one is remarkable, an event, something that breaks the otherwise uninterrupted darkness. You watch as they approach, as they pass, as they recede behind the train, each one briefly suggesting the presence of human habitation somewhere out there in the vast night, and then confirming the isolation of that habitation by being the only light visible for miles in any direction. Your breathing has become so slow and so deep that each breath seems to take a minute or more. Breathe in, and the air flows into you like slow water filling a vessel, reaching down into the deepest parts of your lungs, expanding your chest and your belly, filling every space. Hold, and there is a suspension, a moment of perfect stillness where nothing moves, where you are neither breathing in nor breathing out, where you simply exist in the pause between. Breathe out, and the air flows out just as slowly, emptying you, returning to the world what you borrowed from it, leaving you hollow and light and ready for the next breath. The train rocks gently, left and right, a motion that has long since ceased to be noticeable, except when you specifically direct your attention to it. It is like the motion of breathing, constant, essential, happening whether you are aware of it or not. The train rocks, and your body moves with it. No resistance, no tension, just a passive following of the motion, becoming one with it, becoming part of the train's physical movement through space. The train begins to slow. It is a gradual thing, so subtle that you are not immediately certain it is happening. But the clack-clack of the wheels seems to be coming at slightly longer intervals, and there is a quality to the train's motion that suggests deceleration, a gathering in of energy rather than its expenditure. Lights appear ahead, more numerous than the isolated points you have been seeing. A small station emerges from the darkness, a platform, a small building, a few overhead lights casting circles of illumination on concrete and rail. The train slows further, the brakes engaging with a low hiss, and comes to a stop with a slight forward lurch that gently rocks everyone in their seats. The stop is brief and quiet. Doors open somewhere along the train's length. You hear the sound, but they are not the doors of your car. Perhaps someone boards. Perhaps someone disembarks. You do not see them from where you sit. You can see only the empty platform, the small station building with its darkened windows, a bench where no one sits, a trash can, a sign with the station's name that you read but do not retain. The night air from outside infiltrates the car slightly, bringing with it a coolness and a scent, not unpleasant, just different from the recycled air you have been breathing. It smells like night, like the particular combination of earth and vegetation and coolness that exists only in darkness, only in places away from cities and crowds and human activity. Then the doors close, the brakes release, and the train begins to move again, slowly at first, gathering speed gradually, pulling away from the station and back into the darkness. The lights of the station recede behind you, becoming smaller, becoming dimmer, becoming a memory, becoming nothing. The darkness returns, complete and total, and the train accelerates back to its cruising speed, and the clack-clack returns to its previous rhythm. and everything is as it was before. But the brief stop has reminded you that the train is not a closed system, not a separate reality, but a thing that moves through the world, that occasionally touches the world at designated points, that maintains some connection to the places and people outside itself. This is both comforting and strange comforting, because it suggests that the journey has structure, has waypoints, has reality. Strange, because each time the train moves away from these points of contact, the isolation of the journey becomes more apparent. The other passengers who are awake have barely stirred. The stop was expected or irrelevant to them, or they are too deep in their own states of near sleep to register it as significant. You see one person check their phone briefly. The screens glow, illuminating their face for a moment before going dark again. Otherwise, the car remains as it was, dim, quiet, full of sleeping people being carried through the night. Your eyes are barely open now. Keeping them open requires effort, and there is less and less reason to make that effort. What is there to see? The darkness outside is unchanging. The dim interior is unchanging. Your eyelids lower, rise slightly, lower again. Each time they lower, they stay closed a bit longer before you open them again. Soon they will close and not open, and you will have crossed from this state of near sleep into actual sleep. And you will not be aware of the crossing, will not mark the transition, will simply find yourself on the other side without knowing how you got there. The night has depth now, layers that you can feel even if you cannot see them. There is the layer of darkness immediately outside the window, the dark air through which the train moves. Beyond that, there are other layers, the darkness of land, of fields or forests or hills, surfaces that absorb light rather than reflecting it. Above that, there is the darkness of sky, a different darkness, one that contains stars even if you cannot see them through the window's reflection, one that extends upward into space, into the universe, into distances that make the train's journey seem infinitesimal by comparison. You exist within all these layers of darkness, protected from them by the thin shell of the train car, separated from them by the window glass and the metal walls and the maintained temperature and the artificial light. But you are also part of them, moving through them, carried through them by the train's momentum. You are in the darkness, and the darkness is not in you. Or perhaps you are in the darkness, and the darkness is in you. Or perhaps there is no meaningful distinction between these states. The sound of the train has become your heartbeat, or your heartbeat has become the sound of the train. The clack-clack rhythm and the pulse in your veins are synchronized now, or always were synchronized, or there is no difference between them. You are the train, and the train is you. Both of you moving through the night, both of you following the rails laid down long ago, both of you heading towards some destination that becomes less important with each passing moment. Your thoughts, when you have thoughts, are simple and fragmentary. You think darkness, you think movement, you think sleep. These are not really thoughts in the usual sense. They are more like labels for states of being, names for conditions that you are experiencing, but not analyzing, participating in, but not observing from outside. The part of you that analyzes, that observes, that maintains critical distance from experience, has gone quiet, has stepped back, has ceded control to the more primitive parts of your brain that know how to rest, how to let go, how to surrender to sleep. The train passes over a bridge, and for a few seconds the sound changes, becomes more hollow, more reverberant, echoing off water or empty space beneath the tracks. Then the bridge ends, and the sound returns to its normal quality, and the momentary variation is absorbed into the continuity of sound, becoming part of the long chain of moments that makes up this journey. Time is no longer passing in the normal way. Each moment is complete in itself, requiring nothing from the moments before or after it. You are not moving through time so much as existing in a series of present moments, each one exactly like the last, each one containing the full reality of your existence: the seat, the window, the darkness, the sound, the movement, the approaching sleep. Your head has found a resting place against the window, and you have stopped noticing the coolness of the glass against your skin, stopped noticing the subtle vibration that travels through it. These sensations have become part of the baseline of existence, part of the unchanging background against which nothing much is happening, and nothing much needs to happen. The boundary between waking and sleeping is not a line you will cross, but a gradient you are moving through, so gradually that there is no single moment when you could say, "Now I am asleep," or "Now I am awake." You are both and neither, existing in that liminal space where consciousness persists, but barely, where awareness continues, but without focus, without intention, without the usual sense of self that says, "I am experiencing this," because the I has become too diffuse, too spread out, too merged with the experience to maintain itself as a separate entity. The darkness outside has become absolute now, or your perception of it has become absolute. There is nothing to see, nothing to distinguish, nothing to identify. It is darkness in its purest form, darkness as a concept made manifest, darkness as the default state of the universe from which light is the temporary exception. And you are in this darkness, carried through it, part of it, moving through it at speed, but feeling no wind, no resistance, no indication of movement except the sound and the gentle rocking, and your own knowledge that movement is occurring. The other passengers have all disappeared into sleep. You can see their still forms, the shapes of them in their seats, but they might as well be empty coats draped over the cushions for all the animation they display. Each person has gone into their own private darkness, their own dreams, their own deep places, and you are on the edge of joining them, of leaving this dim train car reality and entering the other reality that waits in sleep. The wheels turn beneath you. They have been turning for hours now, will turn for hours more, tireless and mechanical, doing what they were made to do without complaint, without fatigue, without any sense that this is unusual or difficult or noteworthy. The train does what trains do. It moves on rails from one place to another, carrying its passengers, indifferent to their waking or sleeping, their thoughts or dreams, their reasons for traveling. The train serves all equally, asks nothing, provides passage, continues. You notice, in a distant way, that you have not had a coherent thought in some time. What is happening in your mind now is not thinking in any usual sense, but something more like watching clouds, or watching water flow, or watching anything that moves and changes without requiring interpretation or response. Things arise in your mind and drift across it, and fade away images, words, feelings, memories, none of them important, none of them demanding attention, all of them simply there for a moment, and then not there. You are not sure if your eyes are open or closed. The darkness is the same either way. Behind your eyelids there is darkness. Outside the window there is darkness. These darknesses are indistinguishable, interchangeable, the same darkness in different locations, or perhaps not even different locations, but the same location, the same darkness everywhere at once. The sound of the train has receded somehow, become more distant, though it has not actually gotten quieter. It is as if there is now a layer of insulation between you and the sound, a buffer of some kind. Or perhaps you have simply sunk so deep into relaxation that sounds no longer reach you with their full force, but arrive muffled, softened, filtered through layers of approaching sleep. Your breathing is barely perceptible now, so slow and so shallow that it seems more like an idea of breathing than actual breathing. Your chest rises and falls almost imperceptibly. The pauses between breaths are longer than the breaths themselves. You exist mostly in the pauses, in the spaces between, in the moments when nothing is happening, because everything has stopped. The train follows a long curve, and you feel it in your body. The way the centrifugal force presses you slightly toward the outside of the curve. The way the world seems to tilt even though nothing is tilting. The way straight lines become circles, become arcs, become paths that curve through space in ways that straight thinking cannot follow. The curve goes on, and you curve with it, and everything curves together through the darkness. Then the track straightens, and there is a moment of adjustment, a moment when your body and the train car and everything must realign themselves with straightness, must remember what it means to move in a line rather than an arc, and then straightness is reestablished, and everything continues as before, and the curve might never have happened, might have been imagined, might have been a dream. You have lost all sense of distance traveled, of time elapsed, of where you might be in the journey from departure to destination. You could be anywhere along the route, or everywhere simultaneously, or nowhere, existing in a space that is defined only by the train car itself, by the seat and the window, and the dim light and the darkness. A space that moves through the world, but is not part of the world. A bubble of transit that contains its own reality, separate from the reality outside. The clack-clack continues. It has always been continuing. It will always continue. It is the heartbeat of this reality, the pulse that confirms existence, the rhythm that underlies everything. As long as you hear it, you know you are still on the train, still in motion, still being carried through the night toward whatever awaits at the end. You are very close now. Sleep is not something distant, not something you are moving toward, but something you are already partway into, something that has begun to claim you without your noticing the exact moment of its arrival. You are in the borderland, the twilight country, the place where the waking world and the sleeping world overlap and merge and become indistinguishable. Your body has become very heavy or very light, you cannot tell which. Either you are sinking into the seat, becoming one with it, becoming part of the train's physical substance, or you are floating slightly above the seat, held there by something other than the cushion, suspended in the air, untethered from gravity. Both sensations seem equally true, equally possible, equally present. The darkness has entered you now, or you have entered the darkness. There is darkness outside and darkness inside, and no boundary between them. The window that separates interior from exterior has become transparent in a new way, not allowing sight through it, but allowing darkness through it, allowing the darkness outside to flow inward and the darkness inside to flow outward, until they are the same darkness, the same substance, the same void. The sound of the train has become a vibration rather than a sound, something you feel in your bones rather than hear with your ears, a resonance that travels through the structure of the train and into your body and through your body and back out into the train, a circuit of vibration that includes you and the seat and the floor and the wheels and the rails and perhaps the earth itself, all of it vibrating together at the same frequency, all of it one system, one instrument playing one note that never ends. Your thoughts have ceased entirely. There is no thinking happening now, no words forming in your mind, no images arising, no memories surfacing. There is only being, only existing, only the most basic awareness that you are present. That consciousness continues, though even this awareness is fading, is becoming less certain, is approaching the point where it will disappear entirely, and sleep will be complete. The train rocks gently. The wheels turn. The night deepens. The hours pass. And you drift deeper and deeper, further and further from waking, closer and closer to the complete surrender of sleep, the absolute rest, the total letting go that comes when consciousness finally releases its hold and allows the body and mind to sink into that other realm where the journey continues. But you do not know you are journeying, where you are carried, but do not know you are being carried, where everything continues, but you are no longer present to witness it. The second hour ends. The third hour begins, but you do not know this. Do not mark it. Do not notice the transition. You are beyond such measurements now, beyond time, beyond distance, beyond location. You are on the night train, and the night train is everywhere and nowhere, always moving and never arriving, carrying you through the endless dark toward a destination that might not exist, might be everywhere, might be right here in this seat, in this moment, in this breath. Sleep now, or sleep soon, or sleep already. The train continues. So do you, together, through the night, through the darkness, through the hours that have no names. Rest, let go, surrender. The night train carries you on, faithful and tireless, asking nothing, giving passage, continuing its journey through the sleeping world, through the deep night, through the darkest hours when even darkness sleeps. And you sleep too, or are about to sleep, or have already been sleeping for longer than you know. The wheels turn, the darkness holds you, the train moves on. You are no longer certain if you are awake or asleep, if your eyes are open or closed, if you are sitting in the train car or floating somewhere above it, looking down at your own body, slumped in the seat by the window. These distinctions have lost their meaning. You exist in a state that includes both waking and sleeping. That is neither and both simultaneously. That occupies the space between all definable states. The train continues its journey, though you are no longer tracking its progress in any meaningful way. The clack-clack of the wheels on the rails persists, as it always has, but the sound reaches you as if from a great distance, as if it is happening in another room, another world, another reality entirely. You hear it and you don't hear it. It is there and not there, present and absent. The darkness outside the window has become total, or your perception has become total darkness, or there is no longer any outside, any window, any separation between the train and the night through which it moves. The train exists within darkness, the way a fish exists within water, completely, essentially, without any reference point that is not darkness, without any memory of anything else. Time has ceased to flow in the normal way. It no longer moves from past through present to future, but pools in the present moment, accumulating there, deepening there, becoming a substance you are submerged in rather than a dimension you are moving through. The present moment is infinitely deep, contains everything, needs nothing from before or after. Your body has disappeared, or you have forgotten that you have a body, or the body has become so relaxed that it no longer sends signals to your brain, no longer reports on its condition, its position, its existence. There is consciousness, but no physical awareness. Awareness, but no location for that awareness. Presence, but no entity that is present. The other passengers exist in some peripheral way, shapes in the darkness, fellow travelers through the night. But they are as distant from you as the stars would be if you could see stars through the window. They are there, but they might as well not be there. You are alone in a train car full of people, alone in a world full of beings, alone in existence itself. And this aloneness is not loneliness, but completeness, not isolation, but wholeness. The train rocks gently, left and right, left and right. A motion that has long since become internalized, that you no longer perceive as motion, but as a state of being, as the way things are, as the fundamental nature of reality. To be is to rock gently. To exist is to sway. Everything moves in this way because there is no other way to move, no other way to be. Thoughts occasionally arise, but they are not your thoughts in any possessive sense. They are thoughts that happen in the space where you are, thoughts that pass through like clouds across a sky, belonging to no one, coming from nowhere, going nowhere, simply appearing and disappearing without leaving any trace, without meaning anything, without connecting to anything before or after. The sound of the train has become one with the silence, has become a form of silence. The silence that includes sound, that is made of sound, that uses sound to express its essential emptiness. The clack-clack is silence speaking. The hum of the train's systems is silence breathing. The creaking of metal is silence stretching. Everything is silence, even the sounds. You have forgotten where you came from. The city, the platform, the act of boarding the train, these things exist somewhere in memory, perhaps, but they are so distant, so vague, so uncertain that they might be memories of dreams rather than memories of events that actually occurred. Perhaps you have always been on this train. Perhaps there was never anything before the train. Perhaps the train is the only reality that has ever existed. You have forgotten where you are going. There is a destination. Presumably, trains go from one place to another. But what that place might be, why you might be going there, what you will do when you arrive, these questions have no answers, have lost their relevance, have dissolved into the general dissolution of all definite things. There is only the train, only the movement, only the darkness, only this eternal present moment that stretches on without beginning or end. You are in the middle of the journey, in the middle of the night, in the middle of existence itself, equidistant from all edges, all boundaries, all definable points. The darkness outside has texture now, though you cannot see texture, cannot see anything. You sense it somehow, this texture of darkness, the way it is not uniform, but varies in density, in quality, in presence. Some darkness is thick and close. Some darkness is thin and distant. Some darkness presses against the window, like something trying to get in. Some darkness recedes away into distances that have no measure. Your breathing continues in its slow rhythm, so slow that each breath seems to contain an entire lifetime. The inhale is birth. The hold is existence. The exhale is death. And then there is void before the cycle begins again. Each breath is all breaths. Each moment is all moments. Everything that happens has always been happening and will always be happening. The train passes through something, a tunnel perhaps, or simply a passage through deeper darkness. Darkness that has substance, that has walls, that contains the train in a different way than the open darkness does. The quality of sound changes. becomes more enclosed, more reverberant, bouncing back from surfaces close on either side. And then the train emerges, if it emerges, or continues through, or perhaps it never enters anything, but you imagine it does. Or perhaps there is no difference between entering and not entering, between being enclosed and being open. The seat beneath you has become indistinguishable from your body, or your body has become indistinguishable from the seat, or there is no longer any meaningful boundary between where the seat ends and you begin. You are supported and you are the support. You are held and you are the holding. You are passenger and vehicle simultaneously. The window beside you could be a mirror, could be showing you your own reflection or the interior of the car. But you are not looking at it, not seeing anything in it, not perceiving it as an object separate from anything else. It is just one more part of the continuous field of experience that has no divisions, no separate elements, no individual things, only the one thing that everything is. You have descended now to a level of consciousness or unconsciousness that rarely occurs except in the deepest sleep, except in states of meditation achieved by those who have practiced for years, except in moments of complete surrender to something larger than the self. You are not awake, but you are not quite asleep either. You are in between, in the space between, in the gap that exists between all defined states. The train continues, but you are no longer on the train in any usual sense. The train moves through space, and you move through the train, or beyond the train, or as the train, or all of these simultaneously. There is no fixed position anymore, no stable point from which to observe, no clear boundary between observer and observed. The darkness has become everything, or everything has become darkness, or there is no difference between darkness and everything. The train moves through darkness and is made of darkness and creates darkness as it passes and leaves darkness behind. And darkness is all there is, the substance from which all things are made and to which all things return. The sound of the wheels on the rails has slowed impossibly, or your perception of it has slowed, so that each clack takes minutes or hours, so that you can hear within each clack all the component sounds that make it up: the initial contact, the weight bearing down, the stress on metal, the singing of the rail, the echo that spreads out from the point of contact, the decay of the sound into silence, the silence that waits for the next clack. Your heartbeat has either stopped or become so slow that it beats once per hour, once per mile, once per lifetime. Between beats, there is suspension, there is waiting, there is the vast space in which existence holds its breath, wondering if the next beat will come, if time will continue, if anything will happen again, or if this pause will become permanent, will become the final state, will become the end of all continuing. But the beat comes. It always comes. The heart beats again, and time moves forward one more increment, and the train advances one more wheel length, and the night continues its slow rotation toward dawn that is still hours away, still impossibly distant. Still, on the other side of darkness that seems like it will never end, you are dissolving. This is not frightening. This is what you came here for, what you have been moving toward all night, what the train has been carrying you toward, this dissolution, this letting go, this release from the burden of being a separate self, a defined entity, a thing that ends where other things begin. The boundaries are going, have gone, were never there. You are the seat and the window and the darkness and the train and the night and the rails and the earth beneath the rails and the sky above the earth and the space beyond the sky. You are everything and nothing, everywhere and nowhere, always and never. There is no longer any you to experience what is happening. Experience continues, but there is no experiencer. Seeing continues, but there is no seer. Being continues, but there is no one who is. The train moves through the night, carrying an empty seat, or a seat that contains everything, or a seat where the distinction between empty and full has no meaning. The darkness is absolute, not the darkness of closed eyes or unlit rooms, but the darkness that exists before light, beyond light, without reference to light. The darkness that is not the absence of light, but its own positive presence, its own substance, its own reality. The sound continues. Clack, clack, clack. Each sound arising from nothing, existing for an instant, disappearing into nothing. Each sound complete in itself, unconnected to what came before or what comes after. A discrete moment of vibration in the void. A wave in the ocean of silence. The train is not moving through space anymore, or space is moving through the train, or there is no difference between moving and being still, because motion and stillness are the same thing seen from different perspectives that no longer exist. The train is here and there and everywhere simultaneously. The journey has no distance because there is no space to cross. The destination has been reached because there is nowhere to go that is not here. Time has stopped, or time has become infinite, or time has revealed itself to be an illusion that was never real, that never had any power except the power given to it by minds that believed in it, that created it through believing in it, that sustained it through continuing to believe. But now there is no mind to believe, no belief to sustain, no time to measure. There is only the eternal now, the endless present, the moment that contains all moments. That is all moments. That is the only moment there has ever been or will ever be. The darkness vibrates with a frequency so low that it cannot be heard, cannot be felt, can only be known through some sense that has no name, some faculty that exists beyond the five senses, beyond the body, beyond consciousness itself. This vibration is the hum of existence, the fundamental tone, the sound that everything makes when everything is heard at once. And in this vibration, in this darkness, in this void, there is peace. Not the peace that comes from the absence of conflict, but the peace that exists prior to conflict, before the possibility of conflict, in the space where there is only one thing, and therefore nothing to conflict with anything else. The peace of unity, of wholeness, of being everything and nothing simultaneously. Something is changing. So subtle that it barely registers, so gradual that there is no single moment when it begins. But something is shifting. Some quality of the darkness is becoming different. Some aspect of the void is transforming. Perhaps it is time reasserting itself, beginning to flow again after its long suspension. Perhaps it is space reopening, creating distance again between things that had merged into one. Perhaps it is consciousness returning, reforming itself from the dissolution, gathering itself back into something like selfhood. The train is still the train. The darkness is still dark. The night continues. But there is a sense, faint, uncertain, barely there, that the deepest point has been passed, that the descent has reached its lowest depth, and now there is nowhere to go but up, back toward the surface, back toward form, back toward the world of separate things. The clack-clack of the wheels becomes slightly more distinct again, slightly more present, as if volume is being turned up fraction by fraction, as if your ears are beginning to remember how to hear, as if sound is solidifying again into something separate from silence. Your body begins to send signals again, faint reports from distant provinces, a slight pressure here, a minor temperature shift there. Nothing urgent, nothing demanding attention, just gentle reminders that body exists, that you have a body, that you are, in some sense, a body. The boundary between inside and outside begins to reestablish itself. There is the train car interior with its dim lights and sleeping passengers. There is the window. There is the darkness beyond the window. These are separate things again, distinct things, things that exist in relation to each other, but not merged into each other. Thoughts begin to arise again, though they are still fragmentary, still dreamlike, still lacking the clear definition of waking thoughts. Images float through your mind, disconnected, meaningless, beautiful. Colors that have no source, sounds that have no origin, feelings that relate to nothing. The mind is beginning to create again, to imagine, to generate content, even if that content makes no sense, connects to nothing, means nothing. Time is moving again, though still slowly, still uncertainly, like someone learning to walk after a long illness. Moments follow moments. Now is followed by now is followed by now, each now slightly different from the last. Change beginning to happen again. Sequence reestablishing itself. The train rocks gently, and now you can feel it as motion again, as a back and forth that is separate from your being, that happens to you rather than being you. You are a passenger again, someone who is being carried, who is riding in a vehicle, who is separate from that vehicle, even while being contained within it. You are still deeply relaxed, still more asleep than awake, still far from anything like full consciousness. But you are less dissolved than you were, less merged with everything, more gathered into something like selfhood again. You are becoming someone again, becoming a person, becoming an individual consciousness that occupies a specific location in space and time. The seat becomes more present, more real. You can feel it beneath you, supporting you, holding your weight. You can feel the texture of the fabric, the firmness of the cushion, the way it conforms to your body. These are sensations now, distinct experiences, things that happen to you rather than things that are you. The window is cool against your head, if your head is still resting against it. The glass is solid, smooth, a clear boundary between the warmth inside and the coolness outside. You can feel the slight vibration that travels through it, the mechanical pulse of the train transmitted through all its structures into your body. The darkness outside is still complete, but it is darkness again rather than void, absence rather than presence, the normal darkness of night rather than the absolute darkness of dissolution. Through this darkness, the train continues to move, carrying its sleeping passengers, following its predetermined route, serving its function. The other passengers are still sleeping. Nothing has changed in the train car, or nothing visible has changed. Time has passed, hours have passed, but everyone is exactly where they were, in the same positions, in the same states of sleep. The journey continues for all of you, together and separately, each in your own experience of the night. Your breathing is still slow, but not as impossibly slow as it was. Each breath takes seconds now rather than minutes, fills your lungs, and empties them in a time frame that is recognizable, that is human, that is normal. The pauses between breaths are still long, but no longer infinite. You are breathing in a way that could sustain life, that does sustain life, that is life. The clack-clack of the wheels continues its eternal rhythm, but it is sound again, clear sound, rhythmic sound, the sound of metal on metal, of wheel on rail, of train in motion. It is no longer the fundamental vibration of existence, but simply the sound that trains make, the percussion of travel, the music of motion. You begin to have the sense again that there is a destination, that the train is going somewhere, that this journey will end eventually, that there will be an arrival. You don't know where or when, don't have details or specifics, but the concept has returned destination, arrival, ending. The journey is not infinite after all. It will end. All journeys end, but not yet. Not now. Now there is still night, still darkness, still hours of travel ahead. Now there is still this seat, this window, this train car, this state of deep rest that is not quite sleep and not quite waking, but something in between, something that serves the purpose of both, that restores, while it also maintains a thread of awareness. The third hour ends as it began, with the train moving through darkness, with you resting in your seat, with the night continuing its slow rotation toward a dawn that is still distant, but no longer impossible, no longer beyond imagination. The deepest point has been passed. The void has been crossed. The dissolution has reached its limit and reversed. Now there is only the slow return, the gradual surfacing, the the gentle movement back toward the world of things and time and selfhood, but slowly, so slowly. There is no rush. The night is still deep. Sleep is still near. Rest is still needed. The train continues its patient journey, and you continue yours, together, moving through the remaining darkness toward whatever waits beyond it. Rest, sleep, drift. The night train carries you still, faithful through the darkest hours, steady through the deepest night, continuing, always continuing, toward the dawn that will come, toward the destination that waits, toward the ending that is also a beginning. The wheels turn, the rails sing. The night holds you, and you rest in the holding, in the carrying, in the movement through darkness that is almost over, but not quite, that has hours yet to go. That will bring you home. The train continues through what must be the darkest part of night, the hours when even those who keep late schedules have finally surrendered to sleep, when the world is at its quietest, when fewer lights shine in fewer windows than at any other time. These are the hours that belong to no one, that exist in the gap between yesterday and tomorrow, that feel somehow outside of normal time, suspended, separate, different from all other hours. You are still deeply asleep, or deeply resting, or in some state that combines elements of both sleep and waking in proportions that shift and change from moment to moment. Your consciousness is like a swimmer just below the surface of water, sometimes breaking through into air, sometimes sinking deeper into darkness, but mostly hovering in that transitional zone where both elements are present. The clack-clack of the wheels continues as it has continued all night, as it will continue until the journey ends, steady and unchanging. The metronome that measures the night, the heartbeat of the train, the rhythm that underlies everything. You have heard this sound for so many hours now that it has become the background of existence, the default state, the silence against which any other sound would seem loud and strain. The train car remains dim and quiet. The other passengers sleep on in their various positions of rest. Some have shifted slightly over the hours, adjusting unconsciously to find new positions of comfort. Some remain exactly as they were, frozen in the postures they found hours ago. So still, they might be statues, or photographs, or memories of passengers, rather than actual people. The darkness outside continues absolute, or nearly absolute. Occasionally, very occasionally, a light appears in the distance, some isolated human presence in the vast darkness, a farmhouse or a rest stop, or some installation that requires human attention. Even in these deepest hours, these lights appear and pass and disappear, each one a brief reminder that the world exists beyond the train, beyond this journey, beyond this night. Your body has settled into a state of profound relaxation that goes beyond simple physical rest. Every muscle is released, every tendon slack, every joint loose. Your body has remembered how to be a body at rest, how to stop working, how to simply exist without doing, without striving, without maintaining anything except the minimal functions necessary for life: heartbeat, breathing, blood circulation. The automatic processes that continue whether you are aware of them or not. Your mind, too, has found a state of deep quietude. Thoughts arise occasionally, but they are slow thoughts, dream thoughts, thoughts that have no urgency, no purpose, no connection to the waking world of problems and plans and concerns. They drift through your consciousness like clouds across a night sky, visible for a moment and then gone, leaving no trace. The seat that holds you has become completely familiar, has molded to your form, has accepted your weight for so many hours that it seems designed specifically for you, built for no other purpose than to support you through this long night, through this endless journey. You sink into it now without any remaining awareness of where your body ends and the seat begins. You are held, and you are the holding. You are supported, and you are the support. The window beside you maintains its coolness against your head, a constant, gentle touch that grounds you, that reminds you of the boundary between inside and outside, even as that boundary seems less solid, less definite than it did hours ago. The glass vibrates faintly with the motion of the train, a tremor so subtle it barely registers, just the hint of movement, of energy, of the train's passage through the world. Time has become something different in these hours. It still passes, the clock still ticks, the train still moves, moments still follow moments, but it passes in a way that feels suspended, as if each moment takes longer than a moment should, as if the night is stretching itself out, making itself last, reluctant to give way to the dawn that must eventually come. You have entered the still point of the night, the center, the deepest place. This is the hour when night is most completely itself, most separate from day, most defined by its own nature rather than by its relationship to light. This is pure night, essential night, night that knows nothing of dawn or day or any time except this time, this darkness, this depth. The train moves but seems still. Movement and stillness have become so similar that there is little difference between them. The train is still and the world moves past it, or the train moves and the world is still, or both move, or neither moves, or movement itself is an illusion created by the changing relationship between things that are all ultimately stationary in some larger frame of reference. The clack-clack of the wheels has become so familiar, so constant, so much a part of the baseline reality that you would notice its absence far more than you notice its presence. It is there the way breathing is there, the way heartbeat is there, essential and unnoticed, the foundation that everything else rests upon. Your consciousness is at its lowest ebb now, its minimal presence. There is just enough awareness to constitute being aware, just enough thought to constitute thinking, just enough self to constitute a self. You are reduced to your essence, stripped of all the accretion of personality and memory and identity that usually defines you. What remains is just the basic fact of existence, the simple truth of being, the minimal consciousness that observes without judging, that exists without striving. The darkness outside has become a presence you are intimately familiar with now, a companion on this journey, a constant that has been with you for all these hours. You understand this darkness now in a way you did not at the beginning of the journey. It is not frightening, not threatening, not something to be overcome or escaped. It is simply what is, the condition of night, the nature of the world when the sun is on the other side of the earth. In this understanding, there is a deep peace. You are at peace with the darkness, with the night, with the journey, with the train, with the movement, with the stillness, with existence itself. There is nothing to resist, nothing to struggle against, nothing to change or fix or improve. Everything is exactly as it should be, as it must be, as it is. Your breathing is barely perceptible now, a gentle tide that rises and falls in the slowest rhythm, so slow that it seems to encompass minutes in each cycle. Breathe in, and the world breathes in with you. Hold, and the world holds with you. Breathe out, and the world exhales. You and the world breathe together, synchronized, one breath, one rhythm, one life. The other passengers continue their sleep, each in their own depth, each in their own dreams, each on their own journey through the night, even though all are traveling on the same train toward the same destination. You are together and separate, close and distant, part of the same community of travelers, and each utterly alone in your individual experience. The train rocks gently, left and right, the motion that has continued for so many hours that it has become the default state of being. To be is to rock. To exist is to sway. The universe itself rocks gently on some cosmic axis, and the train's rocking is just a small reflection of that greater motion, that universal rhythm. Time pools in this moment, accumulates here, gathers depth. This moment is not like other moments that pass quickly and are gone. This moment lingers, extends, deepens. You could live a lifetime in this moment, could experience everything there is to experience, could know everything there is to know, and still the moment would not be exhausted, would still contain more depth, more possibility, more presence. Something is changing in the quality of the darkness, though the change is so subtle that it barely registers. Perhaps it is only imagination, only wishful thinking, only the knowledge that dawn must come eventually, and therefore the darkness cannot remain absolute forever. But there seems to be a lessening, a thinning, a suggestion that the darkness is not quite as complete as it was, or perhaps nothing is changing in the darkness itself, but something is changing in you, in your perception, in your readiness to meet whatever comes next. You have been in the darkness so long now, have traveled so far through it, that you are beginning to anticipate its ending, beginning to prepare for the transition back to light, back to day, back to the waking world. The train continues its steady progress, neither accelerating nor slowing, following the tracks that lead it through the remaining hours of night. The wheels turn as they have turned all night. The rails sing their steel song. The motion continues as it has continued, as it will continue until the journey ends. Your body is beginning to stir slightly, beginning to shift from the absolute stillness of deep rest towards something that contains the potential for movement. Not movement yet, but the possibility of movement. The latent energy that could become movement when the time is right. Your muscles remember that they can contract, that they can lift and push and pull. Your joints remember that they can bend and flex and rotate. The body is preparing itself for the eventual return to activity, even as it continues to rest. Your mind, too, is beginning to surface from the depths, beginning to rise towards something that resembles normal consciousness. Thoughts are becoming slightly more coherent, slightly more connected to each other, slightly more purposeful. You are beginning to think in sentences again, in sequences, in narratives that have beginnings and middles, if not quite endings yet. The darkness outside is definitely less absolute now, or you are more able to distinguish shades within it. There is darkness that is nearly black, darkness that is dark gray, darkness that is beginning to show the faintest hint of deep blue. The sky is becoming distinguishable from the land, even though both are still dark. Depth is returning to the view, layers becoming visible again, the world beginning to resolve itself into discrete objects and spaces. The train passes through another small station or through the outskirts of a town, and there are more lights visible than there were hours ago. Not many. It is still deep night, but a few more windows are lit. A few more streetlights are burning. A few more signs of human activity are present. The world is beginning its slow wake-up, the gradual transition from the suspension of night to the activity of day. But you are not ready for that transition yet. You need more rest, more sleep, more time in this suspended state. The night still has work to do, restoration to complete, healing to finish. You sink back into deeper rest, allowing consciousness to recede again, allowing the stillness to continue, allowing the journey to carry on without your full presence or attention. The clack-clack continues. The train rocks gently. The night holds you, and you hold the night, or the night holds you, or there is no difference between holding and being held, between traveling and being carried, between sleeping and being kept safe in sleep. The darkness is definitely lifting now, so gradually that it is impossible to mark the moment when it begins, but lifting nonetheless. The absolute black of true night is giving way to the charcoal gray of pre-dawn, that in-between time when it is no longer night, but not yet day, when the world exists in a state of transition, of becoming. Through the window, you can begin to see shapes now, vague outlines of things in the darkness. Trees, perhaps, buildings, hills. The landscape is revealing itself again after hours of invisibility, emerging from the dark like objects surfacing from deep water. The world has been here all along, of course, but now you can see it again. Now It is becoming present to your senses, rather than just present in your knowledge. The train continues through this twilight world, this liminal space, carrying its cargo of sleeping passengers from the deep night toward the coming day. The sound of the wheels remains constant, unchanged by the lifting darkness, indifferent to the transition from night to dawn. The train serves its function regardless of light or dark, regardless of the hour, regardless of anything except the tracks it follows and the momentum that carries it forward. Your body is stirring more now, shifting position slightly, adjusting to some minor discomfort that has developed over the long hours of stillness. You move an arm, or shift your weight, or change the angle of your head against the window. Small movements that require no conscious decision, that happen automatically as your body seeks to maintain its comfort through the final hours of the journey. Your sleep is lighter now, closer to the surface, more easily disturbed by small sounds or sensations. You are hovering in that state between sleep and waking, where you are aware of the external world, but not quite participating in it, where you can hear the train and feel your body and know you are traveling, but where you are also still in some internal space, some dream state, some place that is neither fully inside nor fully outside. Dreams begin to come more frequently now, fragments of imagery and feeling that flash through your consciousness like scenes viewed from a moving train, present for a moment, vivid while they last, but gone almost immediately, replaced by the next dream and the next, an endless procession of interior scenes that make no sense individually, but that create a texture, an atmosphere, a quality of consciousness that is distinct from both waking and deep sleep. The other passengers are beginning to stir as well, though most are still deeply asleep. One person shifts in their seat. Another coughs quietly. Another opens their eyes briefly, looks around as if checking where they are, then closes their eyes again and returns to sleep. The train car is still quiet, still dim, still a place of rest. But there is a subtle change in the quality of that rest, a sense that it is concluding rather than deepening, that the night's work is done or nearly done. Outside, the darkness continues to lift. The sky is definitely lighter now, a deep blue rather than black, the color of twilight, the color of transition. No sun is visible yet, no direct light, but the presence of the sun below the horizon is making itself felt, is beginning to illuminate the world indirectly, preparing the way for its eventual appearance. The train follows a long curve through this pre-dawn landscape, and you can see more clearly now the shape of the land through which you are passing, rolling hills covered in dark vegetation. A river running parallel to the tracks for a while before diverging, scattered buildings that might be houses or barns or some other rural structures. The world is taking on definition again, becoming particular rather than general. This place rather than any place, the sky to the east, and you can tell which direction is east now, can see the orientation of the world again, is beginning to show the first hints of real color. Not the blue of twilight anymore, but the faint suggestion of orange, of pink, of the warm colors that precede the sun. Dawn is not here yet, but it is coming. It is inevitable. It is already announcing itself in the lightening sky. The train is moving through a landscape that is becoming increasingly visible with each passing moment. Fields appear beside the tracks, their surfaces covered with some crop or just with grass. Impossible to tell in this light. Fence lines mark boundaries. Roads cross under or over the tracks. The infrastructure of the human world is becoming apparent again. The network of paths and boundaries and structures that organize the land and make it usable. Your consciousness is rising steadily toward the surface now, toward full waking, though you are resisting this rise, wanting to hold onto the rest, the peace, the suspension of the night for a while longer. But the body has its own rhythms, its own needs, its own schedule, and it is preparing to wake whether you want it to or not. Systems are coming back online. Metabolic processes are accelerating. The body is readying itself for the activity of a new day. Your eyes open more frequently now, staying open longer before closing again. You watch the landscape passing outside the window. Watch the sky growing lighter. Watch the world emerging from darkness. There is beauty in this transition, in this daily miracle of light returning, of visibility resuming, of the world revealing itself again after its long concealment. The clack-clack of the wheels continues unchanged, but it sounds different now in the context of approaching dawn. Less hypnotic, less soporific, more like what it actually is, the sound of a train in motion, a mechanical sound, a sound with a source and a cause. No longer the mysterious rhythm of the night, but the comprehensible percussion of wheels on rails. The other passengers are waking now, most of them, stretching and yawning and checking their phones and looking out the windows to see where they are, how close they might be to their destinations. The train car is coming back to life, resuming its identity as a space full of individual people with individual destinations and purposes and lives. No longer the collective dream space it became in the deep night. Someone stands and walks to the bathroom at the end of the car, their footsteps loud in the relative quiet. Someone else digs in their bag for something, food, probably, or a book, or whatever they want for this final stretch of the journey. The conductor appears from wherever conductors go between stations and begins walking through the car, checking tickets one more time, preparing for the approaching end of the line. You stretch slightly in your seat, feeling your joints pop, feeling your muscles remember how to tense and release, feeling your body return to its full presence after the long hours of rest. You are stiff, but not uncomfortably so. You are tired, but not exhausted. The night has done its work. The journey has served its purpose. You have rested and been carried, and now you are approaching whatever comes next. The sky continues to brighten. The orange and pink are more pronounced now. spreading across more of the eastern sky, creating a gradient that moves from the warm colors near the horizon up through pale blue and into the darker blue that still occupies the western sky, where night is making its last stand. The world is caught between darkness and light, between night and day, between ending and beginning. The sun appears, or at least its effects appear, light suddenly spilling across the landscape, illuminating things directly for the first time in hours. The world becomes fully visible, fully present, fully itself. Trees cast shadows again, buildings show their colors. The details that were lost in darkness return textures, patterns, the infinite variations that make each thing unique. The train is definitely slowing now, no longer maintaining its cruising speed, but beginning the gradual deceleration that means a station is approaching. A stop is coming. The journey is nearing its end. The rhythm of the wheels changes, becomes less regular, as the train navigates the more complex trackwork near a station, switching from one rail to another, following the path toward its designated platform. Buildings appear more frequently now, closer together, larger, more urban in character. The train is entering a city, or the outskirts of a city, leaving behind the rural landscape it has been traveling through all night. Warehouses and industrial buildings line the tracks. Roads become more numerous, carrying early morning traffic, delivery trucks, commuters, the people who start their days before the sun is fully up. You sit up straighter in your seat, fully awake now, oriented to the waking world again, ready to arrive, ready to disembark, ready to rejoin the normal flow of life that you left behind when you boarded the train last evening. The night journey is ending. The day is beginning. The transition is complete. The other passengers are gathering their belongings, putting on coats, preparing to leave. The train car has become busy with this activity, with people moving in the aisles, reaching for bags in overhead racks, checking that they have everything, that nothing is being left behind. The community that formed in shared sleep is dissolving as everyone returns to their individual lives, their separate purposes. The train pulls into the station, bright and modern and busy with morning activity. Platforms full of people waiting to board other trains. Announcements echoing from speakers, the noise and light and movement of the human world at the start of a new day. The train comes to its final stop with a sigh of air brakes, a settling of weight, a sense of arrival and completion. Doors open along the length of the train. Passengers begin to disembark, stepping down onto the platform, stretching, breathing the morning air, moving away to catch other trains or meet waiting family or friends, or simply to continue their journeys in whatever direction they need to go. You gather your small bag. You stand, feeling the stiffness of having sat for so long, feeling the return of gravity's full effect after the suspended state of sleep. You move into the aisle, join the flow of passengers making their way toward the doors, toward the platform, toward the station, toward whatever comes next. You step down from the train onto solid ground. The platform is concrete under your feet, stable and unmoving. Such a different sensation from the constant motion of the train. You stand for a moment, adjusting to stillness, to arrival, to being in a place rather than moving toward a place. Behind you, the train sits on the tracks, its journey complete, its purpose fulfilled. It carried you through the night, carried you through the darkness, carried you through all those hours of rest and sleep and deep peace. It brought you here, to this place, to this morning, to this new day. You turn and walk away from the platform, into the station, into the city, into the morning, into whatever awaits you here. The journey is over. The night has passed. The darkness has given way to light, and you are here, rested and ready. Having traveled through the longest night and emerged on the other side, the train will rest briefly, and then begin another journey, carrying new passengers through the day or through the next night, continuing its endless cycle of departure and arrival, of carrying and releasing, of connecting places and people across the distances that separate them. But for you, this journey is complete. The night train has brought you home, or to somewhere that will become home, or to the place you needed to be. You have traveled through the darkness and survived it, rested in it, been held by it, and now you walk forward into the light of a new day, carrying with you the deep rest of the night, the peace of the long journey, the memory of being carried through darkness while you slept. Welcome to the morning. Welcome to arrival. Welcome to whatever comes next. The night train's journey is complete, and so is yours. For now, the wheels have stopped turning. The rails are silent. The night has passed, and you have traveled through all of it, through every hour, through every mile, through every moment of darkness and rest, and sleep and peace. Thank you for traveling on the night train. Sleep well, traveler, until the next journey.